Hey there, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome. Thanks for joining me in today's video. I have a very classic, authentic shuffle feel blues lick for you. Now, this is actually the first lick in a group of 5 that we're going to do over the next few days, and then I'm going to put them together into a solo. I'm doing this, I have a new course coming out called 50 Shuffle Blues Licks by the Box. This is sort of a nod to that. So what's the difference between a shuffle and a slow blues? Well, fundamentally, they are both triplet based. So you've probably heard, this kind of a groove. That's generally what I would call a slow blues. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And fundamentally, a shuffle is more about 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little bit faster, and of course there's a gray area there. But the problem with many slow blues licks is that you would have to be able to play them much faster to play them as shuffle feel licks. Now sometimes that's okay. You have a shuffle along the lines of, the one that comes to mind is Baby What You Want Me to Do. And it's about there, around 90 beats a minute. But then you have the shuffles that are more like Sweet Home Chicago, Pride and Joy, which can get, 110, 120, 130 beats a minute depending on the recording. There's a very big difference between playing something in a slow blues at maybe around 60 beats a minute and then playing it at a shuffle pace of 110, 120 beats a minute. There's a lot of licks that simply won't make that leap. That's a big leap in terms of speed, and a lot of licks won't do that. So I divide licks. I have slow blues licks that I use. I have shuffle feel blues licks that I use. And of course there are, straight feel licks. And a lot of times those, I label them as classic rock because straight feel tends to be more associated with classic rock, but you can also use them over a straight feel blues, something like The Thrill Is Gone, or I'll Play the Blues for You. Those are a straight feel. All right, so enough of all of that. Today's lick is going to come from an area of the fretboard commonly called box 1. And of course, tomorrow's will be box 2, and then box 3, box 4, box 5. In case you don't know box 1, most of us do. Most of us are familiar with this idea. If I'm in the key of A, box 1 starts on that A. Now, I'll call it by frets, okay? 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Again, I think most people are going to know this, but here's what you really need to know. I don't usually think about the actual notes that I'm on, because let's say I'm in G, right, or C. The notes will change. What will not change is the scale degree. Okay, that's a root. That's a flatted third. Okay, what we mean by a flatted third is that if it were a major scale, it would be a third, but it's a half step lower, so it's flatted. There's a fourth, there's a fifth, there's a flatted seventh. Back to the root, flatted third, fourth, fifth, flatted seventh, root, flatted third. Okay, so root, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, root, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, root, flat 3. That is something that you may or may not already be familiar with, and it's something that's extremely important. I always know what scale degree I'm on. I don't always know exactly what note I'm on, because I don't always pay attention to the key. That's my problem. Okay, now, some people call those intervals. They're not intervals, technically. An interval is a distance between 2 notes. They are scale degrees. Okay. Now sometimes we will add what we commonly call the blue note in a minor blues scale, such as this. The blue note is a flatted fifth. So we have root, flat third, fourth, flat fifth, fifth, flatted seventh, root, flat third, fourth, flat fifth, fifth, flatted seventh, root, third, flat third. But today's example doesn't actually take advantage of the blue notes. Some licks will, some licks won't. It's really not a problem either way. The blue note is a great passing tone. It's usually not someplace you want to hang out. Okay, you'll notice that it does add some serious tension to whatever lick you're playing. It's a great sound, like all great sounds, used sparingly. So let's go ahead and take a look at today's lick. We're going to start with a very common idea. Now, one of the things that's super important is that you pay attention to when each of these notes starts. You may or may not be able to read the notation in front of you. It's fine, you don't need to. I am going to tell you where everything is at. Make a note of it. You can, I'll try and leave a link near this video. You can download a PDF of this if you want. You need to write on it, that's fine. Write it on a piece of paper, do whatever you gotta do. Just be very aware of the timing. It's very important. So 1 and my 4 is gonna bend up to my 5. That's not a random bend. I'm going from one note to another. So that's 1 and 2 and there's my high root. For 3 and I'm going to do a pull off from the flat 7 to the 5th, and I'm going to bend that 4 up again, and then on beat 4 I'm going to release it, pull off to the flatted 3rd and down to the root. And this is a move that you really want to get the hang of. 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and I really, really want to encourage you to say that out loud while you play it. 3 and 4 and so far we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we're going to go back up to the flatted 3rd, 1 and hammer on. You don't have to do the hammer-ons. I wrote them that way. That's how I like to play it. You could pick it if you want to. Is the 5th. So 3, flat 3, 4, 5. Then you see I'm kind of gonna roll. So you'll notice when I play that 5, the 5th fret on the 2nd string right there, my finger is not on the tip the way you might normally do it. It's a little bit flatter. I'm doing that to prepare to roll over down to the right back to the flatted 3rd. That's a very Albert King style of move. I actually stole it from Angus Young and later found out it was Albert King. So 1 and 2 and we'll end it on the root. Okay? So if I put this all together very, very slowly, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. A little more up to speed. 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now, in order to memorize and own this lick, okay, it's a great lick. It's one you're definitely going to want to have. How do you memorize it? How do you own it? How do you play it and sound like you made it up? Okay, we need to make this part of what I call your vocabulary. If you think of, a young child learning to speak, certain words, certain phrases, those are things that everybody says, and everybody says them without thinking about it. You need to be able to just say this as part of your vocabulary without thinking about it. So how do we do that? 2 things. First, start the counting right from the beginning, okay? From the very first time that you practice this lick, count out loud, and I promise it will make all the difference in everything that you do, even if you've never done it before. If you've never done it before, it's going to feel like you're taking a step back, and I understand that. You're going to have to go very, very, very slowly. Go as slow as you need to go. There is a speed at which you can count out loud and play this. I don't know what that speed is, and it might be many seconds between notes, and that's okay. Go as slow as you need to go. I promise it will get better. Okay, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students, thousands of students all over the world who have, I'll say, seen the light when it comes to counting, and they write me all the time and they just say, I can't believe I got along this long without it. It's amazing. I learned things so much faster. Trust me when I tell you it's worth getting over the hump with the counting thing. Okay, on top of that, you have to get this memorized. You have to get your eyes off the page. So obviously, at first, you're going to have to read it. You're going to have to, go through it until you think you've got it. When you think you've got it, turn the page away or turn the screen away, whatever you're looking at, and try it without. If you have any doubts, or if you're not sure if you've got it right or whatever, bring the screen back. Look at it a couple more times, take the screen away, try again. Get to the point where you don't need the screen, you're not forgetting along the way, and you don't feel like maybe I'm doing it wrong. If you're not sure, look again, put it away. But really do your best to get off of that screen or off of that page as soon as humanly possible. Now, once you've got that, the way to really, really own something is you have to actually use it, okay? A little kid will learn a phrase or a word, by hearing their parents, and then they'll start to use it, usually very incorrectly, a lot, right? Kids will say things that make no sense at all. You are likely going to do the same thing with this lick. You're going to say it in a bunch of times when it makes no sense at all. What we want, though, is to minimize the chances of that, and that's where the counting, of course, comes in. But what you're going to do is you're going to play it over a jam track. I have a jam track for you. This is a 90 beats per minute, so this is kind of on the slower end of a shuffle, but when you get to the point that you are comfortable going 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, right? And you are playing that lick and it's at a moderate, sort of comfortable speed. What I want you to do is turn on the jam track and it should sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And notice I can count quite comfortably at this tempo. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2. And when you're not making any mistakes, and you're sure you've got it, then you can just play it. Now, ultimately, to truly own the lick, you need to play it over different keys, at different tempos, potentially, radically different sounds. That's why with the course, I've got 2 sets of jam tracks, one at 90, one at 110, in 5 different keys. Okay, so you can try it in different keys, different tempos. You can do the same thing there, I'll say out in YouTube land. You could just go search, a variety of shuffle jam tracks at a variety of tempos. You can eventually, try this over a bunch of different ones. You'll find some work great, some don't work so good. Again, that's that idea of, sort of using this until it becomes part of your vocabulary, is you learn what situations it does and doesn't sound good, okay? So, you want to get it memorized, you want to get it up to a comfortable tempo, you want to play it along with the jam track. When you do that and you've got it all memorized, there's a good chance it's going to stick with you, okay? So, for now, all you got to do is learn this lick. Should be easy. Hopefully it's not too difficult. When you got it down, tomorrow I'm going to have another video where we'll look at a lick from box 2. Then, like I said, we'll do one from box 3, box 4, box 5. Ultimately, we'll put them all together into a 12-bar solo. So I hope you'll join me for all of those. Until then, I'm Griff Hamlin from Blues Guitar Unleashed. As always, if you have guitar playing friends you think would dig this video, I hope you'll share it with them. And I will see you soon. Take care.